Welcome to MS unMasked, Our Journey and Beyond, a podcast where hosts Justine Martin and Allyson Brown share their personal experiences, insights and practical advice on navigating life with multiple sclerosis. Each week they delve into topics such as self-care, nutrition, exercise, sleep and symptom management. Join them as they explore the physical, emotional and mental aspects of living with MS, providing a supportive community for listeners touched by this condition. Get ready to be inspired and empowered on this incredible journey through MS unMasked, Our Journey and Beyond.
Welcome back, listeners, to MS unMasked. How are you, Elle?
I'm very well today, actually. I'm feeling good today.
Yeah. Why are you so well? What's got you all chirping?
I think it was the sunshine today. I started my morning off with Pilates and, had my smoothie, and we were talking a little bit about gratitude and about how sometimes we're not really present in the moment to just go, you know what? I'm here. I'm alive. Life is good. Trying to find those positive things that we just need to get into gratitude sometimes. So I was trying to get into gratitude a bit today, and you know what? It's working out for me. I like it.
It's good.
And what about you?
Smile on your face?
Yeah.
The sunshine apparently has been good. I've not had a chance to go out and enjoy it today, but I am supposed to be going for a walk when we finish recording this, actually. I'm very tired. My fatigue is spiking at the moment. I am doing way too much. B, I'm under a lot of stress at the moment, and so that's throwing out all my MS. I've got a big project on, as you know, this weekend with the Geelong Art Show, and that's been quite stressful and added extra work. So I have to learn to say no in the future to some projects and put Juzzy first. Are you like that? Do you overcommit sometimes?
I do. I find, I don't know whether I don't think it's an MS specific thing, but I definitely know of a bunch of people that we just find it hard to say no.
I think
why can't we just go, you know what, I'm going to do some self-care and look after myself today? Why do we just go, yes, I will do it. Yes, I'll help out. Yes. I think it means that we're trying to be a good person and do more things, but I do think we get overambitious sometimes. And I think what old Justine might have been able to handle and what new Justine might be able to handle, they're probably slightly different things.
They're totally different things.
And I know that myself. I definitely know over the years the things that I commit to and just go, yeah, that's easy, no problems. And then I do it and I'm like, oh my God, this was so much harder than it was, what it would have been, 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I've been sick as well with cellulitis, and so then having an infection in your body. Well, for me, I don't know about you, Elle, but that increases my MS symptoms as well. And fatigue is always the first one to say, I'm still here, girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you go doing too much because I'm going to rear my head. And as we know with fatigue, it's not about just being sleepy. Fatigue isn't about being sleepy. It's not actually having that physical energy to do a lot of things.
So how would you describe fatigue? Like, what does it feel like in your body? Because I know everybody's got their own sort of way of describing it. And I think for the lay person, people don't necessarily understand fatigue. And look, I'll be honest, I've been in fatigue and tired, and they are very different things. Now that I don't necessarily get fatigue all the time, but I know what I feel like when I haven't slept well, they're just worlds apart. They're not the same thing. They don't feel the same. So what does it feel like to you? Why do you sort of think that they're different?
Well, when I'm tired, all I want to do is sleep. When I'm fatigued, I'm nauseous. I can't think straight. I don't have enough energy to get up and do just the most simple tasks of even like just getting out of the lounge and getting a glass of water. or getting out of bed and going to the toilet. And then those two activities there then start a chain of events of UTIs and making my MS worse. So it is it's a juggling game, because, some days you can be, you can do or you might do it over 3 or 4 days or a week or a couple of weeks. You'll do all this activity and you're good. And then all of a sudden you think that you're managing your fatigue levels okay. And then your body goes, girlfriend, no, I'm still here. Just going to remind you that I'm here. And you may not have done anything different, but it can just go, I'm back. I'm here. So yeah, nausea is a big one for me. I get really nauseous, and the cog fog. So like even now, just trying to process words and sentences is a big giveaway. And this week with, forgetting the title of our podcast in saying it, that in itself is an indication that I'm fatigued.
Yeah.
What about you?
I definitely know that, fatigue and the brain fog have gone hand in hand quite often, and that does make me feel a bit queasy, like just a bit blur. When I've been fatigued, and the reason I know the difference between fatigue and tired is fatigue feels like your legs are concrete, your hands are concrete. Everything is so much effort. It's like walking through water, but you just, as you say, go into the bathroom or whatever, and everything just takes that much more effort than it should to do quite a simple task. I remember like when I was really bad back in 2018 and I'd resigned from my job, I remember I was like, Allyson, just go and get up and do some artwork, because at the time I had this room as my art studio, and I was like, just get up and just go do something fun that you like. Just go do some art. So I got up off the couch, which is about 5 meters away, and I struggled to get to about this position, and I was puffing because I was exhausted from walking that far. And I remember standing there just going, I just am too tired. I just can't. I just have to go sit back down because I'm now exhausted from doing nothing. But I couldn't even enjoy those things that should make me happy. Like I should have been like, okay, well, just get a seat and, you'll be supported and you can do some artwork. But it was just, there's no joy in that at all. I was just exhausted to my very core.
It was like, I can remember, very early on trying to vacuum the house. And, it'd take me all day just to do one room, because I'd do a bit and then I'd have to lie down. Then I'd do a bit, then I'd lie down, then I'd sleep. And then I'd do a bit more and then I'd lie down again. And there's just nothing left in the tank. And then it'd be like, oh my God, I've got the rest of the house to do. So, I aim for one room a day. And then by the time I got to by the end of the week, it's like, oh my God, I've got to go back to that first room again. And it was just so, so challenging. I do lots of rests throughout the day. So, people say to me all the time, and I know you have as well, how do you get so much done when, with your fatigue? Well, I find it physically draining to sit in a normal chair. Just to sit and to try and get comfortable without my body hurting, to sit in an office chair. And that upright position hurts too much. So I've worked out that if I lay I've got a beautiful leather recliner lounge.
I know. It's like it sucks you into it, just engulfs you and just like, I've got you, you're supported now, and all crazy.
Well, and that's right. And it's long enough for my legs because I'm quite tall, and there's no pressure on the back of the legs either. So I shopped around for a lot. Now, I'm not endorsed here by this brand, but I did buy it from Nick Scarley, and I waited till it went on sale because it was about $7,000 and I paid $2,000 for it. And I bought it, NDIS didn't. I find that I'm most productive when I'm on that lounge because I'm not hurting. So, one tip is find somewhere in your home that you are comfortable in doing activities from.
Yeah.
I can't lay in bed for a long period of time. That hurts my back. And so even on my worst days, I still try and get out of bed um, and hop on the lounge. So I'm in an semi-upright position, feet up, comfortable. And yeah, that's where I lay or sit and work. And it's a lot less pressure on my body, so I'm not burning all that excess energy as well, trying to sit up regimented or
Exactly.
walking from here to there and that as well.
And it takes some of that stress off, because when
Yeah.
you're like, oh God, I just can't get comfortable, and oh geez, I'm in pain now, and oh geez, like all you're doing is worrying about all these physical symptoms that you're getting. So when you're at least comfortable, well, that thing's just one less thing on your mind, right?
That's
Like, and
right.
it's just all about that self-care, and about, if I was, smarter maybe back in 2018, when I was like, oh, I'll go do smart work, maybe I would have been able to get something, bring it back to the couch, and then just do some drawing or something like that.
And that's
Something
what
that's,
I do now is I've got my iPad and I do Procreate. So I do the digital art
yep,
on there, or there's many photos of me online on Just Art where I'm on the lounge and I've got an art board with a piece of paper on it and just some ink pens and doing it
yep,
that way. I physically can't use an easel for a long period of time either. So I've learnt to paint flat. So my artwork in the studio sits on the table, which quite often gives a different dimension to things. But yeah, I paint flat, and that makes a huge difference on the strain on my body.
yeah. And like for other people, it would be like, well, I have to use an easel because my neck gets too sore leaning down or whatever. But it's about finding those little solutions, those little things that just make that thing that you're trying to do that little bit easier to do and a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah,
Exactly. So I guess in a similar way, I suppose this was physical fatigue that I was feeling over the weekend. So we went to Bunnings and I spent some of my birthday money and got some new plants and some vegetable seeds and stuff to propagate. And by the time we got back, I was like, oh, I'm just going to plant a few things. And so I have it in my brain like, oh, just plant a few things. That's fine. I'll just put it in that pot. Yep, bit of soil, blah, blah, blah. And I do about 5 of them, and then my legs start to get really shaky. So I've had a lot
you're
of
doing well
damage.
doing 5. I couldn't even do 5.
Yeah, so I do as much as I can, but I get that previous mindset of like, yeah, just go and do it. Like, just get that done, Allyson. It's just a small task, just do it. And then my body ends up, because I'm sort of squatting and leaning, putting the soil in and all that sort of stuff, my body just goes, I don't know what you think you're doing, but right now you're not going to be able to get up. And then when I try to get up, my legs start getting really shaky. So I got to the point over the weekend, which I completely overdid it. And I was actually to the point where I said to my husband, can you please finish this? Because I just can't physically do it anymore. I'm going to have to go sit down and, give myself half an hour and my legs are fine again and we're all back to fine. But it's not always the case. If you get that sort of, if you really overdo it, it can linger on for, days.
Days.
Yeah.
Days.
Yeah. And so,
I think I'm feeling the way I am now because I went to Bali and there was very little rest. There wasn't a lot of like physical activity in the first week, but just even sitting and having conversations for 8-10 hours a day fatigues you out, or fatigues me out big time. And when your brain's constantly going and that as well. And then the next 5 days I did walk a lot because I was struggling with my legs, and so I walked, and that helped relieve the leg pain, but fatigued me out as well.
yeah, so it's kind of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Yeah.
And then throw in there the time difference, so a bit of jet lag thrown in there, and because I haven't stopped since I got home either. I'm tired and I'm fatigued. So I've got a mixture of both, and I can feel the both
Yeah.
on there. And I'm not sleeping well, as we were just saying, because I am one of those MSs that the cold affects dreadfully. And last night I went to the movies and my feet were icicles, and I didn't have enough energy to hop in the shower and get warm, which is what I quite often do. So I hopped into bed where I should have got my ass in the shower, because I hopped into bed. I had the heater going above me. I had a doona on, a blanket on, and my dressing gown over the top, and my feet were like icicles for about 4 hours.
Do you have an electric blanket?
No, I can't sleep with an electric blanket on.
Right, okay.
It gives me a migraine. But I am sitting here now, as we said. So if you're listening to this, I am sitting here with a heated throw rug on that is on number 7 at the moment, trying to warm up my legs, because again, and that's the thing, when you sit for a long period of time, the circulation doesn't form in your legs and they go cold from lack of movement. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So I'm trying to get my legs warm enough now that I can go for a bit of a walk with my girlfriend. So
Yeah. And look, you've got to just find the middle ground as best as you can to try to make it work, because we can't just go for a run and go, well, I'll just warm up by having a run. Like, honestly, most of us would probably die if we tried to go for a run.
Run before I had MS, let alone try to run now. I can't even use MS as an excuse, because there is no way that this body was ever designed for that type of cardio.
But still, like, right, we've just got to find the things that make our life a little bit easier, the things that we can do that are in our capability range. So what might work for you doesn't work for me. What might work for me doesn't work for you. But we've just got to keep trying to find those little things. And I love what you said before about doing a little bit and then taking a rest. So I learned that when I was in the pain clinic. They teach you about pacing, and I think we've discussed it before, about just taking those little bits, doing a little bit, even though, like, let's say your whole house needs vacuuming. What if you just did one room and then had a rest?
Yeah.
And then maybe did another bit if you're up for it in a couple of hours when you've rested, whatever that looks like for you. But it's about just taking those little steps towards
now
self-care.
I've outsourced that.
Yeah. And that's a really good thing. And so have I.
And, outsource getting someone in to do my cleaning, outsource someone in to come and do my washing and my ironing, outsource someone to do my gardening. I still potter around out there and, I'll water, though I did get a watering system put in, because, again, with my memory problems, and I was killing off so many plants because I'd forgotten to water it or couldn't remember when the last time they were watered. So I just put a watering system in, which helped. But I still get out there and, potter and stuff like that as my energy levels allow me to. But it's a matter of, okay, well, do I want to work in my business today and put my energy into that, or do I want to work out in my garden?
Well, it's sort of like, I feel like it's maybe like, do I want to go and do some fun stuff a little bit? Because you probably save the hard work for somebody else. Like, you outsource the hard work and then you just do a little bit. And, it's not too hard. It's not too arduous, but it's kind of a little bit fun maybe.
Yeah. And, if I've got, so my daughter's wedding's coming up in 2 months today. I know. Yes, I don't know if she's
all
actually
grown up now.
Yeah, right. But I know with the week leading up to it, or the 2 weeks leading up to it, I'm going to have to do fairly minimal in it, and I will be away a fortnight before it in Townsville, so some warm weather, and so my body should rejuvenate from that, and then come back. And I'm fingers crossed we'll have everything done prior to it, so it won't be coming back and stressing that this isn't done and that isn't done and that isn't done, because I've been doing that now for months with it all. But yeah, pace yourself, and when you know that you've got a big occasion coming in, don't book something in the next day that you're going to be wiped out from that. I know that I'll be wiped out from that wedding on on the Sunday, and then I have to be, so that's on the 15th, and then I've got to be quiet on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, because the night of the 19th, I've got an awards night that I am going to. So, and that's a very important awards night, that one. And so I know that the next 4 days, I've just got to be minimal, and everyone else can fend for themselves. They can just do whatever. My daughter-in-law or son can do the cooking, and we can have some takeaway, because I need to take care of me.
Yeah. So important. It's really, really important. And it makes a difference when you can kind of plan ahead around that. And don't be afraid to ask people for help. You know, if you get to the stage where you're like, oh my God, I just need a rest. I can't cook dinner. I can't do whatever. Just ask somebody to give you a bit of a hand. Just explain the situation.
Help. Always a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. And, you know, you can't build resilience without asking for help. You can't do it yourself. And you're silly if you think that you can. It's a matter of, ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for someone else to do it, outsource it, and make your life that little bit easier. Because you're right when you said before, you know, the previous Justine would have been able to do it all, but not the MS Justine. As much as my brain would like to think that I can.
Oh, yeah. My brain is fully like back in, you know, because I suppose you're always going to be you, right? So you're always traveling around with all of your history, all of your previous knowledge, all of your experience. And so that part of your brain just goes, I can do that. Yeah, I can go for a run. Yeah, I can do this. It's like, no.
No.
That's right. But as you mentioned, like your body's very quick to remind you, no, remember how you've got MS? Remember how you've got lesions on your spine? Remember how you're going to not be able to walk right now? I'll remind you just in case you forgot.
I'll make you kiss that ground again. It's lately. It's like, oh my God, I'm on the ground again. Well, I've had 3 falls this year, 4 falls.
And that surprises me. Like I'm surprised to hear that. Definitely.
You know, I can stand up and not feel my leg. So now I have to make, and this is tiring as well, when I go to stand up, I have to make a conscious effort in checking to see that I can feel my feet.
I do too. When I get up in the morning, because I got out of bed that time and broke my foot, I'm mindful of the fact that, you know, my foot, when I got up that day, was like turned on its side and I put my full weight on it. Obviously, that's how I broke my foot. So I'm mindful of the fact that because I've got numbing in my feet as well now, if I stand up, I need to make sure that I'm actually grounded, like I'm actually standing correctly before I decide to start walking. So quite often I will barrel roll out of bed. So I'm on my back, you know, I sort of roll over to the side and then push myself up. And then I'll just gently stand there, just stand for about 3 seconds before I'm like, okay, I think you're okay to go. Because I also want to check to see whether my legs are going to move when I think they should move, when I want to put the right leg forward.
That's right.
You know, because sometimes I think like it's happened where the body hasn't done what my brain thinks it's going to do. And, you know, obviously that can be very, very dangerous. So I'm
extremely dangerous.
I'm quite mindful of that. No more broken feet. I don't want another broken foot or worse.
I know. That's the scary thing, isn't it? Or worse. Yeah. So fatigue. Have you got any other tips that you can recommend? I've got a few, but I want to see what you come up with.
Look, I definitely think asking for help is one of the biggest things that I've found to avoid fatigue. I definitely think that learning to kind of pace myself and to accept my new boundaries. You know, I forget quite often now. I'm not going to be one to just sit here and go, I'm perfect all the time, because I'm not. Because my brain just goes, yeah, you can do this. It's only 5 pots, Allyson. Just go and do it. And then, you know, I try it. So I just think that checking in with yourself, even as you're doing this, like I probably should have realized at the 4th pot that I was probably at my limit, you know, and didn't realize. But so maybe checking in with yourself and just going like, am I still okay to do this, or should I just stop and have a rest? Because I think just having that rest, those rest periods, can be and make a big difference.
Yeah, I did a fatigue course not long after I was diagnosed through MSWA it was, but I know that MS Australia also do those courses. They do the webinar ones and that now as well. And if you're overseas, you can still access those through MS Australia. But I learned some really good tips. Like some of them were just to get a laundry trolley to hang out your washing. So not just the fact of pushing the laundry trolley out there, but so it's higher. So you're not bending over every time to pick up the washing to put it out, if that's something that you still do. I use a clothes dryer and I use it during the day when the solar power's on. So I'm not getting a big bill at night from it, but to take it from, the washing machine to the dryer is not that far. Cutting your vegetables, sit down and do it. Have a stool in the kitchen to do your cooking rather than standing is another way to save energy. Walking through the shops, even if you don't really need a walking stick for full mobility, just use one, because people will get out of your way generally they do, when you've got a walking stick. So instead of having to walk sideways and swerve around everyone, which takes up more energy, if you use a walking stick, you can pretty much walk in a straight line because people will go around you. So instead of walking twice as far through the shops to avoid everyone, you can just walk in that one straight line. Take a walking frame with you. Take your wheelie walker with you. Even if you think that you can walk it, at least you can sit down at any particular point and have that rest as well. And it doesn't matter if it takes you an extra 20 minutes, of sitting and resting, because, there are not enough seats in shopping centres.
True, absolutely.
Yeah, and, the few times where I have had to use my wheelie walker because I haven't been able to walk very far at all, to go into somewhere like Kmart and get stuck down the back because you don't have enough energy to get back to the car, the wheelie walker comes in handy there, that, you have got that instant seat that you can sit on.
It actually makes me feel kind of nice to know that other people struggle with that, because, when I'm going to the shopping centres with my husband and, we're wandering around for a bit, now I can still walk. I don't need a walking stick or a wheelie walker to go, but I get to a limit, right? So I've got a limit, and I don't know what exactly that is, but it's less than most people, right? So I get to the point.
It could be different every single time you go.
It's true, very true. But what happens is my legs get to the point where they just start kicking out because I'm hyperextending, and my legs just like, oh God, come on. And it gets really frustrating. But my husband doesn't necessarily know really what that's like, to get stuck in the back of a shopping centre or somewhere and being like, oh my God, the car is all the way over there. And dreading the walk back, because I know that my legs are like, every step is like concentrate, because you don't want to trip. You don't want to have an accident.
Not only are you then putting you've put fatigue on your body, but you're also putting fatigue then on your mind.
And just so much stress about, am I going to make it back? Am I going to make it back? I should just ask him to carry me. Honey, go and give me a piggyback. I don't know. He probably would. But it's comforting to know that other people will be in those situations where they sort of are fearful, basically, of like, oh my God, the walk is so far. Even going to something like like the tennis or the MCG or something like that, and then having to walk back to the car.
So when you're in the shopping centre, right, and if your legs were to fully go, that your husband could go to centre management, and they have wheelchairs there to hire.
Yeah.
So if you register your ID, you only have to do it once. Register it at centre management. He can then get you a wheelchair or a scooter to get you back to the car. Or if you don't have a wheelchair with you, you can get your support person or even yourself. I've gone to centre management before and hired a scooter for an hour while I've been there by myself because I haven't had the energy to walk around and I needed to get things. And obviously it's too hard to get a scooter in the car. I can't push myself in a wheelchair because my left arm goes on me and I go around in circles. So the fatigue becomes too much in my left side of my body. That you can, at a lot of the shopping centres, actually hire the scooters free of charge too. A lot of them are, all the
Yeah,
wheelchairs.
that's good.
So if
And
you got
I
stuck somewhere and you had someone with you, they could go and get a wheelchair. And I mean, it's not the best case scenario, but
at least that option's available.
Yeah, and I think the Royal shows as well, they actually have scooter and wheelchair hires. And I know I've hired from the Royal Melbourne show. You do have to pay for those ones, I think, but they're minimal for the whole day in hiring a push chair.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's a really great thing. I had a similar kind of situation the other day. Okay, so this might be a little bit sad.
Yeah.
But I pay Woolworths for a delivery to get my groceries delivered to my door because my leg function isn't what it used to be and I get fatigued going through the aisles. So I get my food delivered. So as part of my rewards or whatever, I get a 10% discount a month. Now, they used to have it that you could just claim it per delivery. They've changed it now so that people like us with disability can't get their 10% discount for delivered. They have to go in store, right? So this, because we wanted, usually I'd stock up on, items that are more expensive so that I'd get, the best out of my 10% discount. Now I know it's kind of sad. It's 10%, whatever. But anyway, so we went to the store the other day and we had a bit of a list, so we got we planned ahead, but I don't know the shopping centre that well, like the supermarket aisles that well. So we were kind of going up and then coming back a little bit, going up, coming back. By the end of it, I got that feeling where my legs started to kind of kick out. And I said to my husband, we've got to kind of go. Now, we weren't there that long. It wasn't that arduous a thing that I was doing, but oh my goodness, I could feel it. My legs were just not what they used to be. And so bloody Woolworths taking my 10% discount that I can't get delivered now. And I feel for the people that, have disability that can't go to the shopping centres or the supermarkets to get their stuff because they would rely on that. And they, it's a nice thing to be able to get.
That's where, you can get a support worker to go for you, but then you're paying support worker hours.
Exactly.
Do it. And, you can get it delivered, but it gets delivered to your front door. And if you live at home and you can't carry those groceries in, then they're out there. Or, I've had groceries delivered and they put them right at the front door and you can't get out through the front door.
Yeah.
Because the wire door won't open because they've delivered them right out the front. What idiots. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, Elle.
I know. But yeah, it's a big thing that can just creep up on us sometimes, even when we sort of don't expect it. And I'd say that, over the years, it's just kind of creeping, it's getting worse probably over the years, subtly that I don't notice. But, I suppose I avoid going to places where I have to walk around a lot as well, because I'm sort of trying to avoid that situation where maybe my legs give out in public and I'm like, help. But
taking, a mobility aid with you, even just a walking stick to start with. I know that that's not something that you use all the time, but it definitely does help.
Yeah, and I do have my foldable one. So it can fit into my handbag. So it's one that I bought for traveling purposes. So it's an aluminium frame that just folds up it's perfect for that sort of thing. I just need to get into the mindset of like, that's part of my handbag now. Like that's part of my, what I use, what I take with me. So it's just a mindset shift that I need to do to just go, that's part of my inventory now.
Well, I hope, listeners, that you've picked up on some hints and tips today in regards to fatigue. We're going to be talking a different subject next week. And if you would like to for us to talk about something that you're struggling with, then please email us at hello@justinemartin.com.au. I'm going to give our book a plug as well. Register for Whispers of Resilience, our MS stories, that's coming out in a month's time. Very excited. Yes, on that one. And you can, we'll put the the link in the show notes. Oh my God, fatigue. The link in the show notes in order to register for that one as well. So any final words, Allyson?
I'm very excited about this book. I'm very, very excited. I can't wait to read everyone's story. So I hope that people register for the pre-sales so that they can get a copy, because I think it's going to be amazing. How many stories are there? 26 authors? 26 amazing.
Authors. Yeah.
And everybody's story is so different.
They are. Okay, listeners, until next time, you all stay healthy.
Bye.
Are you ready to be inspired? Get ready for the book that will touch your heart and ignite your spirit. Whispers of Resilience, Personal Stories of Living with MS is now available for purchase. Have you ever wanted to peek into the lives of individuals who have triumphed over adversity? Look no further. This highly anticipated anthology brings together a group of exceptionally talented authors, all living with multiple sclerosis, who share their personal journeys with unyielding honesty and vulnerability. At www.resiliencemindset.com.au, you can now secure your copy of this remarkable book that captures the essence of resilience, hope, and the power of the human spirit. Dive into the stories that will captivate your imagination and open your heart to the triumphs and challenges faced by these courageous individuals. With each turn of the page, you'll witness the unbreakable spirit of these authors as they navigate the unpredictable terrain of MS. Their words will inspire you, uplift you, and remind you of the incredible strength that lies within. Visit www.resiliencemindset.com.au now and embark on a transformative journey through the pages of Whispers of Resilience. Get your copy today.